10 Worst Places for Americans in South America. Ideally, no American should have any reason not to feel at home when visiting anywhere in South America. After all, someone might reason America is America, be it South, North, or Central. It's like a huge joke to assume that no American is more American than any American anywhere called America. Some countries in South America have cities that are hostile to people from the US. Some cities are simply dangerous for any foreigners regardless of his country, but more dangerous for Yankees. Here are the 10 worst places for Americans in South America. Let me quickly add, my listing of the 10 worst places for Americans in South America in this video represents nothing but my personal opinion formed out of my own research and findings from those with first-hand experiences. Nevertheless, I respect other people's rights and desires to express their dissent. Number 10. Natal, Brazil. As you travel through northeastern Brazil, reaching the state of Rio Grande do Norte, you'll find Natal, the capital and largest city of the state. Though supposedly a busy tourist destination where millions of people flood every year, it's a no-go area for Americans in South America. But why? Behind its beaches and general pretty scenery lies a dark secret. Natal is dangerous in a special way, not just in its traffic. The major areas of the city are dominated by criminal gangs. What makes it one of the worst places for Americans in South America is that if anyone from the US gets in their way, they won't be polite about it. Number 9. La Paz, Bolivia. Our search for the worst places for Americans in South America takes us to La Paz, the Bolivian third most populous city. Just like many cities in Bolivia, its music alone can bait an American into this one of the most dangerous places for Americans in South America. The city has a very poor program for healthcare. You better don't be under the weather in La Paz. Political protests happen everywhere in the world, but they often turn violent here. Every property looks like a prison surrounded by a 7-foot wall. What a strange city. Law enforcement agents are very corrupt. They can dress in mufti and pickpocket you. You'd have no one to help you because the very pickpocket might be the police officer you'd later report the crime to. Number 8. Asuncion, Paraguay. We find one of the worst places for Americans in South America in Asuncion, the capital and chief port of Paraguay. The brutal fact about the entire country is that there's not a whole lot to see there. What could possibly take an American to Asuncion, a city that lacks tourism? Only daring and inquisitive tourists can add Asuncion to their list of to-go places. Also, visa on arrival for Americans is quite expensive. There are concerns about crime in parts of the city, such as near La Chacarita and the park behind it, and Ciudad del Este can be one of the worst places to be as an American during the night. Number 7. Santiago, Chile. Why am I adding Santiago, the longest country in the world, to this list of the 10 worst places for Americans in South America? Because many Americans love to visit Chile, a country with incredible diversity, the landscapes, and best of wines. Yet tourists are not as safe as the country's tourism sector wants them to feel in Santiago, the capital city. The air quality in Santiago is terrible. Maybe you should travel in military masks, not ones we use for COVID. If you're there and visit a grocery store during those times of food shortages that often occur in Santiago, you can find yourself in conflict for that last loaf. Don't forget also that the eyes of purse snatchers and pickpockets are on you. Number 6. Valencia, Venezuela. Let's now go to Venezuela, a South American country officially known as the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Valencia, an industrial city in northern Venezuela, is our next stop. It's also one of the 10 worst places for Americans in South America. But what we're spotlighting about this third largest city in Venezuela is the huge and ever-soaring crime rate. Corruption, robbery, kidnapping, and assault are closely following the long years of extreme economic hardship and political instability. Don't be too confident if you're reporting a crime to the police in this city. The criminal you're reporting may be one of the cops. Number 5. Juliaca, Peru. This Peruvian city of just over 276,000 residents is a bad place for you in South America if you're from the US. Juliaca, the capital city and largest city, is in San Roman province in the Puno region. It's considered one of the 10 worst places for Americans in South America mainly because poverty rules in this city on the Altiplano and 12,549 feet above sea level. You can expect the air to be thin here in a city so poor and half filled with dirt. There are no trash trucks to serve the city, and smugglers are on the prowl everywhere. If you're used to the kind of wind you get in Chicago, don't try to go to Juliaca. If you have a compelling reason to go to this city as an American, you'd be advised not to go out at night. Number 4. Paramaribo, Suriname. Not many people know a lot about Paramaribo, the capital of Suriname, the Dutch-speaking country on the Atlantic side of South America. But that's not the reason why it's listed among the 10 worst places for Americans in South America. It should be a great place for a vacation to enjoy the tropical beaches. However, corruption here has made life unbearable. You can't enjoy your life in a city inside a country held down by corruption. The country's economy is in a bad shape, and Paramaribo doesn't have good water. Yellow fever and HIV are rampant there. Number 3. Buenaventura, Colombia. Buenaventura, a coastal seaport city in Colombia, is a very bad place for Americans in South America. Don't get it twisted, Colombia is more dangerous than any American city, and this danger permeates Buenaventura. We find the city among the 10 worst places for Americans in the South because of the random occurrences of phone jacking by guys cruising by on motorcycles. Don't be carried away by the dance or drinks when you're amid dancing gypsies, or else your wallet is gone in Buenaventura. Armed robberies with syndicate taxi drivers and dangerous encounters with crackheads will make living here tough for Americans. Because many of those crackheads in the city are American deportees, they may vent their frustrations on any American visiting or living in their city. Number 2. Guayaquil, Ecuador. The Ecuadorian city of Guayaquil is on this list for its bad water and air quality. But other bad things mentioned about the other 9 worst places for Americans in South America are all present in Guayaquil. However, the water is bad enough to keep it on the list of the worst places for Americans in South America. The water is contaminated with bacteria. Thus, if you must drink tap water in Guayaquil, please go with anti-diarrhea. Also, the air quality is as good as that one of a coal mine that has been on fire for weeks. The reason will be obvious for you as you see piles of trash on road dividers in major roads in non-tourist areas. You're likely to go down with yellow fever if you're not vaccinated before traveling to the city. Lest I forget, the city also has a history of kidnapping. Number 1. Caracas, Venezuela. We're finally back in Venezuela to find the worst place for Americans in South America. That's where you'll find Caracas, the largest city and the capital of the republic. This work won't be credible if Caracas is portrayed as completely free of the plagues of its neighboring city of Valencia earlier mentioned. Granted, Caracas has some of the most stunning landscapes, yet these have been hidden by Venezuela's myriad of problems. No one from the US can feel safe in a country plagued with hyperinflation that has brought the standard of living to an all-time low. Political turmoil in the country is preventing proper planning. Personal safety has become a major problem in Caracas, the city listed as one of the worst places for Americans in South America. If you're not prepared to cope with violent protests, blackouts, extreme poverty, and a lack of even the most basic necessities, Caracas isn't for you. Well, it won't be hard to agree that these are the 10 worst places for Americans in South America unless something else recently develops elsewhere. But if you know places that should have been included or excluded, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you love this video, kindly share and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more.
Esta bomba puertorriqueña